Hi guys! So, sa video na to ay tatalakayin natin ang chain rule for derivatives of function. So, ano ba ang chain rule? Well, chain rule ay isa sa mga pinakamahalagang techniques na ginagamit para mahanap ang derivatives ng functions. So, basically, yung mga functions na to ay composite functions. So, for example, we have y is equal to a composite function f of g of x. Then, using the chain rule, the derivative of y prime, is equal to f prime of g of x times g prime of x. So, basically, iisipin nyo yung chain rule ay hanapin natin yung derivatives ng outside function, which is in this case f of x, at evaluate natin to sa inside function g of x. And then, multiply natin sa derivative ng inside function g of x. So, ano nga ba ang composite functions? So, basically, from the word itself, composite, it's a composition of either two or more functions. But basically, in this example, two functions, namely f of x and g of x. So, halimbawa, meron tayong function f of x equal to, let's say, x cubed. G of x equal to 3x squared plus x plus 1. So, kung hahanapin natin yung composite function na f of g of x, ibig sabihin nito, i-evaluate natin yung f of x sa value ng g of x. So, kung mapapansin nyo dati, kapag nag-evaluate tayo ng function, halimbawa, f of 2. So, number yung nakalagay doon sa inside ng parenthesis. So, ang gagawin natin is substitute lang natin yung value na 2 doon sa mga x's noong function natin. So, this time, x cubed. So, x lang yung papalitan natin ng 2 dito. So, 2 raised to third kasi x cubed. So, f of 2 ay equal siya sa 8. Likewise, kung g of 2 naman, ang hahanapin natin, equal siya ngayon sa, so lahat ng x na meron tayo sa g of x dun sa equation niya, papalitan natin ng 2. So, magiging 3 times 2 squared plus 2 plus 1. So, simplifying, so 3 times 2 squared equals 12 plus 2 plus 1. So, yan, g of 2 natin is equal to 12 plus 2 plus 1 is 15. So, this concept, i-apply lang din natin dito sa composite. So, this time, in case na, instead na numerical value ang magiging nasa loob natin ng parenthesis, yung mismong function, which is g of x. So, therefore, kung f of x natin ay x cubed, papalitan natin lahat ng x niya ng g of x. So, let's say g of x. Then, substitute natin yung original value ng g of x, yung in terms of x niya. So, magiging 3x squared plus x plus 1 cubed. So, yan yung f of g of x. So, i-evaluate natin yung function sa isa pang function. Likewise, kung pinapahanap naman sa atin ay composite function g of f of x. So this time, baliktad naman siya. So yung outside natin ay g at yung inside natin ay f. So therefore, i-evaluate natin yung g sa f of x. Isa-substitute natin sa lahat ng x ng g of x yung mismong f of x. So magiging 3 times f of x squared plus x, so f of x lang, plus 1. And papalit natin ngayon yung kung ano man yung value ng f of x natin in terms of x, magiging 3x cubed squared plus x cubed plus 1. So ngayon, simplify natin, magiging 3 times x to the 6 plus x cubed plus 1. So yun yung g of f of x natin. So ngayon, dahil alam na natin yung concept ng composite function, apply na natin siya ngayon sa pagganap ng derivatives ng functions using chain rule. So, example 1. So, try nating isolve ngayon itong composite function na napuo natin. So, let y equal to 3x squared plus x plus 1 quantity cube. So, ito nga siya, di ba, yung function na to. So, ang f of x natin bale ay x cubed. Siya yung outside function natin. Yung g of x natin, 3x squared plus x plus 1, siya yung inside. So, using yung formula kanina na chain rule, ayan, ito. So, sulat ko na lang dito ulit. Or itabi ko, yan. So, bali ang y prime ay f prime of g of x times g prime of x. So, hanapin lang natin yung f prime of g of x. Tsaka g prime of x. Then, multiply natin sila. And yun na yung sagot natin sa derivative. So, first, hanapin muna natin yung f prime of x. So, looking at this function, f of x equals x cubed. Ang derivative niya using the power formula will be 3x squared. So, but then, kailangan din daw nating evaluate itong derivative ng f of x at g of x. So likewise, tulad ng ginawa natin dito sa pag-evaluate kanina, yung f of x natin na 3x squared, isa-substitute natin yung g of x, whole function na g of x sa x niya. So dito sa x squared. So magiging, so dito na lang, so f prime of g of x will be 3 times yung x, papalitan natin ng g of x, so magiging 3x squared plus x plus 1 squared. Yan. So, tapos na tayo sa part na to. Ito na lang, part na to, yung derivative ng inside function g of x. So, ito yung g of x natin. So, malalaman natin yung derivative nito, dahil polynomial lang naman siya. So, gagamitin natin yung power formula ulit. So, magiging, ang derivative ng g of x natin ay will be 6x plus 1 plus 0, or simply 6x plus 1 g prime of x. So now, kompleto na tayo. May f prime of g of x na tayo. at may g prime of x na tayo. So, ita-times lang natin sila para makuha yung final answer na y prime. So, y prime is equal to, ito yung f prime of g of x na 3 times 3x squared plus x plus 1 squared times ito yung g of x which is, or g prime of x which is quantity 6x plus 1. So, yan na. So, final answer. So, pwede natin i-rearrange as 3 times, unahin natin itong nasa dulo na 6x plus 1 quantity. So, times natin din sa quantity 3x squared plus x plus 1 squared. So, yan yung final answer natin. Yan. So, let's have another example. Let's say we have y equals sine of 2x squared. So again, kung gusto natin i-decompose ito sa f of g, sa f and g function, we can let f of x, the outside function, to be this sine x, and then the inside function will be itong 2x squared. And then using again the composite f of g of x, evaluate lang natin yung f at g. So, lalabas tayo dito sa sine of 2x squared. Right? Kasi sa-substitute natin yung g of x dito sa x ng f of x, so magiging sine 2x squared. So, composite siya. So, chain rule ang gagamitin natin ulit. So, y prime will be, hanapin natin yung derivative ng f of x na sine x. So, ang derivative ng f of x will be, derivative ng sine x ay cosine x. But, sabi, kailangan daw, ito, evaluate natin sa g of x. So, hindi lang simple x ilalagay natin, but yung buong value ng g of x na 2x squared. So, meron tayong, so ito na yung f prime of g of x natin. So, y prime will be g prime of x. Yan. So, g prime of x na lang. So, g prime of x, looking at this function, g of x 2x squared, derivative niya, using power formula again, ay 4x. So, yan na. Rearrange na lang natin. So, y prime will be 4x times cosine of 2x squared. Yan.